Hello and welcome to this quick tutorial. So you can see here we're in Unity and here we are with our game. So we'd made a trigger and the door could open and the character can jump, etc. So that's where we got to. So in this tutorial we're going to look at adding some video to this, some video playback in our 2D game. Sorry, that's me drinking tea. So let's do this. So I have two pieces of video here that I want to sort of explore with you. Let's move this stuff out of the way. So these are both pieces of video and they're both identical. One's 1 meg, the other is half meg. They're both 8 seconds long, so if I double click on this, it plays. You can see this is an MKV file. And I'll close that, and then this is an MPEG-4, and they're just associated with different players, which is why they're doing that. So I can right click this and I can go open with VLC and it'll play in VLC, and you can see it's an MP4. Now why am I showing you that? Well, it's going to move them slightly off here so I can pick them up again. It's going to jump into Unity and I'm going to drop this one in. Oh, I dropped both of them in. Okay, so this here is not seen by Unity. This is the MKV file, and this is the MP4 file, which is seen by Unity. So one of the things we'll discuss in class, and I won't go through what you hear in terms of theory, but what's the difference between these two? What's the codec that's different, or what's the wrapper that's different between these two? Because they're both have the same codec. They're both H.264. So the only difference between them is one is an MKV and one is MPEG-4. So what's the difference between those two, and why does Unity see one and not the other? So I'm going to delete this one for now because I don't need it and it won't work. And then we're going to get this to play back. I'm going to play it back full screen. Now this piece of video is 1920 by 1080. So I have set my resolution here to 1920 by 1080. We were working with this here, free aspect. So you can click on plus and then type in your resolution, give it a name, and then hit OK, which I've done, and that gives me a HD preview. So I can actually preview what I'm going to export. And then what am I going to export? Well, if I go to my build settings and my player settings here, and close that, then over here we can see, if I go to this is WebGL export 1920 by 1080. So that's going to be the final resolution of this game when we export it. Okay, so let's make that a bit bigger. So this is what we're going to look at, and all of that's important because the video here is 1920 by 1080 and it was rendered out of Blender. So I'm going to play it back full screen. So I'm going to make a canvas. So I'm going to go UI and canvas. And there's all sorts of things we should do over here. So I'm just going to change this to say scale with screen size. Now it's not going to make a big difference for now, but I'm going to type in again my resolution. So 1920 by 1080. If for some reason when we're playing the game it's not played at HD, you want you want everything to rescale. You want the UI to rescale. You don't want huge buttons because the resolution's low. So we won't worry about too much about that for now. We'll come back and explore UI canvases another day. We're going to make on that UI canvas a UI panel. Now, excuse me. I'm just going to zoom out here so you can see what's going on. So this is like what the camera can see, and the canvas is enormous. It's this thing here. Now it's not actually enormous, it's just an overlay on the screen. So this gray box just goes over the front of the camera. So if I put something in the top right corner, it'll appear here in the top right hand corner. They just work on different scales for convenience in the editor. So don't think one's much bigger than the other and you need a different camera. Okay, so on this panel I'm going to put a raw image, and that image is basically going to play back our video. So at the moment this raw image is too small, so let's put it in 1920 by 1080. That's assuming we want full screen playback. Now it's got no texture, but we'll worry about that in a moment. So the other thing I want to do in this panel is I'm going to go to video player. So I'm going to add in video player and put the video in here. Now this has no target texture, so I want to make a texture. So I'm going to right click here and go create custom render texture, and we'll just call this vid. And again, the size of this is important, so I want this to play back at 1920 by 1080. And I think I can just leave the rest of this as it is. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to say that the target texture, where, you know, if this texture appears, play back that video on it, and then up here in my raw image, I'm saying this is the texture that I want you to play back. And if I go to my video player, I'm going to turn on loop, so it just goes on and on. So I'm going to press play now, and in the game, if this were the game, we would have full screen video playing back. So if you want to set up a scene, so we haven't really gone through scenes yet, but if you wanted to make a scene like an opening graphic or a logo, or, you know, some intro to your game, you could play back a piece of video full screen with your logo on it, and then I'll show you how to write a very short script which basically says after 5 seconds or 6 seconds, in this case it's 8 seconds, after that amount of time, move on to the next scene. So that's how kind of cutscenes are run together. So the game that you make for Ross and I for Christmas is going to start with probably a logo, then go into a cutscene, and then go to a main menu, and then from the main menu we'll access the individual levels that you guys have created. Alright, so that's it. So that's how we add video to our game. So we'll leave it at that for now.